Now, as you can see behind me, it is past midnight. The action is all over for today, but for the maintenance of this curling rink, it's ongoing. If the recommendation gets the green light from City Council, drivers will see improvements by next year. The expectation is that by 2019, the final phase will be completed, relieving most of the congestion for this busy intersection. City officials say they are not putting up red tape around Old South. What they are trying to do is preserve the heritage elements within the community. City councilors will vote on the final budget on February 26th. In the meantime, the councilors will start to engage the public on what they think of the 2015 budget. For Inside London, I'm Robert Springett. In the current semester, over 1,400 students are enrolled. Almost 600 are from India. City staff recommends the council saving $200,000 by installing no bike lanes for the next 10 years. This is the face of a victim of distracted driving. Josh Field was only 17 years old when he was killed after a car accident on Veterans Memorial Parkway. He was looking at his cell phone instead of the road. His mother doesn't want another family to go through the pain she felt, losing a son far too early in life.
It only takes a split second of losing your concentration. Your mind, when you're texting, when you're trying to change channels on your radio, when you're trying to take a bite to eat or looking in the back at your kids in the car seats behind you, just a split second is all it takes.
Inside the Fields' home in the small town of Belmont, pictures of Josh. Pictures of a 17-year-old who only took his eyes off the road for 1 second. Behind the wheel, on a phone, distracted. Josh's mom wants actions like this to be socially unacceptable, just like drinking and driving.
So we want to make sure that we can make it socially unacceptable by just going out all the time and talking to groups, talking to young student drivers that are just learning, going into schools and talking to students there. But not only that, talking to adults as well.
London police have no problem delivering the message. The Buckle Up Phone Down initiative caught 56 people on their phone while behind the wheel in just one day.
We're employing the strategy commonly known as the 3 E's: engineering, enforcement, education, and empathy. And today you can see an example of, obviously, enforcement and education.
London police say the number of people ticketed for distracted driving usually hovers between 5 and 10 people a day.
What I'm feeling when I see people on their phone when we're out and about is frustration. Frustration that they're just not getting. They just don't understand the consequence.
For Inside London, I'm Robert Springett. Driving through East London can be time-consuming, but you're in for a wait when it comes to this intersection. A long wait.
Very congested. It's very hard to turn left when you're at that corner. You can sit for 3 or 4 lights before you get through.
It's been like that for many, many years. They've got to try and figure something out. What? I don't really know.
It gets very congested at certain times because there's not enough lanes turning left onto Highbury South.
These are just some of the nearly 100,000 vehicles that go through the Hamilton-Highbury intersection. The city wants to fix this gridlock of a problem.
What we'll be looking at, obviously, is the ultimate solution, but if there's some interim solutions, it could be adding, some additional length to some of the turn lanes or some minor improvements. We will be trying to implement those as well in the next couple of years.
How much this will cost is still up in the air, but it will cost roughly $200,000 just to have engineers look at the intersection. For these drivers, the wait continues because staff and counselors can only speculate about how this problem can be fixed.
If we can extend the stacking lanes for the left turns, that stops them from being lined up into the through lanes and would allow more traffic to get through.
For Londoners wondering the details of the roughly $97,000 in combined legal fees in the Ombudsman investigation, keep wondering, because the only way to get that answer is if the 7 members of council in the investigation waive their solicitor-client privilege. Councillor Matt Brown wants these details public.
To do the right thing and to provide that information to the public. The issues behind us now The lingering question is, where were the dollars directed specifically? And I think that, that in the interest of transparency, the public deserves to know.
Councillor Stephen Orser, who is one of the 7 members of council in the investigation, says releasing this information will cause more legal battles.
We could get embroiled in a massive lawsuit in the millions and millions of dollars over itemizing this one or trying to. That wouldn't be fair to the taxpayer, and it wouldn't be fair for every councillor here screaming to be identified taking on a law firm.
The question of who signed the contract for the Toronto-based law firm came up repeatedly through discussion. Finally, and not into an open microphone, Mayor Joe Fontana said, "I did."
It went on for way too long, as you will remember, 6 or 7 months for the Ombudsman to complete their report. And so lawyers did what they did, and that was to represent the seven clients.
Council voted to allow the city solicitor involvement in future contracts with outside lawyers. Councillor Nancy Branscombe disapproves.
I think it needs to be a clear line. If you're hiring outside counsel to protect your interests for something you've done, then that's what it is. And I don't think we should be scrambling the two together. So I'm not supporting number B.
At the end of the night, Londoners know how much they paid in the platter of lawyer fees, but will not know the recipe, even though they are picking up the bill. For Inside London, I'm Robert Springett.
He is the Love Man.
For Kitchener residents, it's easy to fall for local wrestler Tyler Loveman. 19 years old, chasing a dream. Through the week, the Lovemen will perform in front of a different kind of crowd.
3, 2, 1, slow it down. We got 2 more. Keep going. Okay, there's this thing at the pool where it's like, we gotta teach Aquafit. Oh, come on. You know, and like, the thought of teaching Aquafit is like daunting, but once I'm 5 minutes into it, I love it. When I say slow, I want you to curl in and push out. Curl in, push out. Stay up, nice and bouncy.
Believe it or not, some of these Aquafit members not only pay him for his instructions, but pay him to see him in the ring. Just ask Jerry Pruse.
Up and hold it. Nose to toes, let's go.
Another lady here, Jane Ross, and myself decided we'd go and have a look and see what it was like. We made him a huge I love Love Man sign, and we were waving it. And it was really fun. I liked it.
Once you're done, go on your right side.
This full-time job is used to support the Loveman's wrestling, because at the moment, wrestling is not paying the bills.
Well, you're professional, so you get paid for this, so that's like good money. Not a chance. If you're in wrestling for the money, get out.
The Loveman currently lives at home with his parents and little sister, who all have their different opinions on Tyler's wrestling.
Whatever he wants, what makes him happy. And I'm proud of him because he's only started a year and he's come a long way in a year, so I'm happy with that. But if he don't do anything by the age of 26, he's got to go back to school.
What do you think about Tyler's wrestling?
I try not to.
Try not to think about it.
No, I mean, let's face it, right? You don't raise your kids and first thing comes to mind, you want to give your kids the best opportunities, kickstart them, and wrestling don't come to mind when you're thinking about that, right?
What's your favorite part about watching him wrestle?
Like how silly he looks.
Silly, yes.
The dream is very much alive for Tyler Loveman, traveling across Ontario for shows, making next to nothing, and that's if he's lucky. But for the Loveman, it's not about the money. All he wants to do is stick his toe in the waters of professional wrestling. Perhaps one day, make a big splash. For Fanshawe Learns, I'm Robert Springett.